and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. I'm going to do something that I haven't done since 2014, and I'm going to predict what box office bombs, hits and kind of meh situations we're going to have in 2018. So I'm going to go through a bunch of blockbustery type movies, and I'll give my prediction whether I think they will be a hit, whether they're going to bomb, or just kind of like be kind of basically kind of breaking even. Now, before we kind of go into that, a couple of things I'm going to have to explain. So, in regards to the budgeting and how this is going to kind of be judged. So, currently, I don't know the production budgets of any of these films. I try and look it up, and none of them have been made public at the moment. So, it's kind of going to be a bit of a guessing game in regards to that. But generally speaking, for example, the production budget of a movie is, say, $200 million, okay? That's how much the movie actually cost to make. So if a movie made, say, $300 million, you might think it was a hit. That's not the case, because a movie has to make more than double of its production budget to even break even. And that's because the amount of marketing costs generally go in to double the production costs, and also they have to pay cinemas. You have to give the cinemas or theatres, if you're in the States, a kind of cut of the pie as well. So generally speaking, if a $200 movie, basically, it would have to do around 500 million to break even. So if a budget of a film is, say, like I say, $200 million, realistically, I'll be looking at it to do 450 to 500 million to break even, essentially. And that is kind of like being quite general with the numbers, but it's kind of what we have to go by. So if it's kind of how I'm going to work this, if I think a movie will be, because within $100 million of it kind of breaking even, that's what I'll class as breaking even. If I think it's going to do less than the production budget plus the kind of the marketing and stuff by kind of more than 100 million, I think I'll call that a miss. And obviously, if it does, obviously considerably over, obviously it's all its budgets, then obviously that's going to be a kind of a hit. So using the kind of the 200 million milestone as a kind of a platform. So let's say a production budget of 200 million. If it's, say, for example, 400 million or less, that's going to be a bomb. If a movie does kind of 4K, maybe kind of like 550 million, I'll call that kind of breaking even. If it does 550 million over, then that's basically a hit. So that'll give you a rough kind of breakdown about where it is. I hope that kind of maths makes sense. Now, obviously, it's going to vary from picture to picture because all the budgets aren't going to be 200 million. So you have to kind of just bear with me on this while I kind of explain. So I'm going to go through and give you the kind of release dates of why I think certain films will hit or be classed as a hit, and while some I think will be a bit of a miss. Anyway, they're in no particular order, they're just in the order that I kind of have written them down. So we'll start off with Venom. Now this comes to us on the 5th of October 2018. And I'm going to be talking about worldwide grosses, and this is I'm assuming the American release dates, but I'm going to be talking about the worldwide grosses here. Venom, obviously a spin-off from SpiderMan. I do think this will be a hit. I don't think it's going to be a huge, massive hit. I do think it will be a hit. Purely because I do feel that they've got quite a good amount of talent behind this film. We haven't really seen too much of the marketing, and I know there was a little bit of a kind of pushback. I think Spider-Man is a strong brand. I do think that it's coming off of one of the highest grossing kind of superhero movies, SpiderMan Homecoming, and if the marketing does tie in Spider-Man with Venom, I do feel this will be a hit. Plus, I do think, even though they kind of kept their cards close to their chest in regards to whether it's going to tie in with the Marvel Universe, I kind of think it will. I do think this will be a hit. I don't think this is going to be like a huge hit. It'll be do the sort of same kind of money as maybe the original Ant-Man and sort of Doctor Strange, that kind of stuff. So I think it will be a kind of a moderate hit, but a hit nonetheless. Number 2, this is possibly the hardest one for me, and this is going to be Mary Poppins, which comes out on Christmas Day in 2018. Now, Christmas is massively heavily loaded in 2018, so I actually think films that come out around that Christmas period is going to be a bit of a battle, to be honest. Do I think Mary Poppins will be a hit? I think it won't be a hit. I do think it will kind of break even. So I think it will be a kind of, maybe a moderate hit. I think it will maybe make a little bit of money, but I'll still class it as a kind of film where I think it will be kind of meh. Do I think there's this massive contingent of Mary Poppins fans out there? No, I don't. I think the property is too old at this point. I don't know if younger kids will really be that fussed about seeing it. I think the nostalgia for this movie is going to maybe kind of power it through to making some money, but I don't think it's going to be some kind of huge hit. And also because I don't think Christmas is so crowded this year, basically. Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. This comes out on the 22nd of June 2018, and I think this will be a hit. The last film was a massive mega hit. I don't think it will make that money. I don't think the trailers were nearly as good. I do think it'll be a hit. I don't think it's, I wouldn't bet against this movie, but I don't think it'll make anywhere near the money that the last one did. Black Panther. This one comes to us from Marvel in the 16th of February 2018, so it's kind of taken the same spot as Deadpool did a couple of years ago. I do think this will be a hit. It's difficult to bet against Marvel films. They're like a machine these days, and I think this has got such a kind of a buzz from it, from the black community. I do think that it's gonna be massive on kind of social media, and people are just invested in these Marvel films. I don't think that they have to worry too much. Do I think it's going to do gangbusters? I think it'll be pretty much like Venom. I think it will do solid numbers. I think you're probably looking at a kind of a worldwide gross, kind of around sort of 600 to 700 million, which would be enough to be classed as a hit. But I don't think it's going. I don't think it will get near $1 billion. Controversially, SpiderMan Into the SpiderVerse, which comes out on the 14th of December 2018. It's one of these Christmas movies. And this is the animated Spider-Man movie that stars Miles Morales as the Spider-Man. Now, as with the Mary Poppins, like I've said, this is a very crowded Christmas. It's going to be a tough month to crack. I think it's like this, as we're seeing, maybe the big drop off with Star Wars this year. Obviously, they're still going to make a lot of money, but I don't think this is going to do it, because this is an animated film that is geared towards adults. I don't know if it's going to resonate with as much as they are hoping. And there's another reason which I'll come on to in just a second. I think this movie will be a box office break even. I don't think it's going to be a miss. I think it'll be a break even. The other reason, and another movie that comes out only a week after, is Aquaman. And that Aquaman comes out on the 21st of the 12th, 2018. So a week after you've had Spider-Man come out, you've got Aquaman coming out. So those kind of superhero audiences are going to be split. Now, if you look at 2017, we had Thor that came out, and we had Justice League come out, only kind of like, short time later, within 2 weeks. And we really saw Justice League take a hammer at the box office, and I think that's partially because Thor was only out a short time before. So I think these two movies are going to cannibalise themselves in an already crowded December. So I don't think either of these movies are going to be a hit. I think Aquaman will probably do in the region of kind of like 500 million. I think it will probably be enough to say it will break even, maybe kind of 600 million. I don't think it's going to be a hit. This one, it may be even a miss. I'll say it will, I think it will break even, but I think there is a danger of this one becoming a miss, if I'm honest. So I was kind of toing and froing on that one. I think I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say, I think I'll probably say a break even. But I think it's a chance this might be actually a bit of a bomb. Avengers Infinity War. This one, easy one. I think the budget on this one's going to be very high. So although this is going to do crazy numbers, profit-wise, if you look at the profit compared to the kind of the costing, you might say it might not make in ratio the kind of the profit that some of the other movies do, but this will make it twice the money back. So it's going to do big numbers. I don't think there's any kind of worries. If there's one film on this list that I feel is the guaranteed kind of like box office juggernaut, it's this one. A Wrinkle in Time. Right. And this one comes out to us, Avengers Infinity War comes out on the 4th of May. A Wrinkle in Time, this comes out on the 9th of March 2018. This is going to be a bomb, I'm reckoning. I do not think this is going to hit with audiences. This film, I think will be end up being a little bit like Tomorrowland, where it's just kind of like this crazy idea, and kids just aren't interested. And I think this is what this is going to be. I don't think the trailer looks particularly good. It looks very kind of whimsical. I know Ava DuVernay is a celebrated director. I do not think this will be that kids will be interested in this. It looks too kind of like, I mean, maybe very young kids, but I don't think. I think this will be a miss. This one, Deadpool 2, and this one comes out on the 1st of June 2018. I think it's pretty safe to say that this will be a hit. I mean, the budget for this one, the budget of Deadpool was around 50 to 60 million, and I know that they kept the budget similar to Deadpool 2. I bet you it's gone up a little bit, but I bet you it won't crack 100 million, more than 100 million. So realistically, Deadpool 2's only got to do 300 million to be classed as a hit, and I think it will do that easily. I do not think it will do the numbers that Deadpool 1 done, even though the fact you've got Cable in here, because I think people went to sort of Deadpool in droves because it was such a kind of a fresh idea. I think Deadpool 2 will be a solid hit. I don't think it'll do quite as high numbers as Deadpool 1 though. The Nun. Now this is really the only this is probably the lowest budget movie on here. Now I don't know the actual budget of it, but if we look at The Conjuring 2, which I guess is its nearest kind of comparison, the budget of Conjuring 2 was around $40 million, and it did over 300 million worldwide. And I don't expect the spin-off movie will have quite as high budget as Conjuring 2. So even if the budget of The Nun is around 30 million, which I suspect it may be, I think it will definitely pull in probably more than 200 million, which will put it way in the kind of the category of being a hit. So with horror films, there's very little risk because they don't cost that much to make. So I think The Nun will be a hit. I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing that, I've got to say. The Meg. Here's a film I am personally looking forward to. Jason Statham versus a giant megalodon shark. This one comes out on the 10th of August 2018. Bomb. Bomb, bomb, bomb. This has got B-movie written all over it. I wouldn't be surprised if this didn't even come out in the cinemas or come out in just a very kind of small release and was kind of like a video on demand a short time later. Now I don't know the budget of this, so it's kind of hard to say if it's gonna be what the budget will be and what it's going to be expected to make. I do not foresee this making a lot of money. If this gets a cinema release, I foresee this making no more than kind of 200 million worldwide, and that is being generous. So it depends what the budget is of this, because if the budget's kind of like 10, 20, 30 million, I think it would probably be okay. But if it's going to be a cinema release and it's going to be an effects-heavy kind of movie, then it might be a bit higher than that. I think the Meg will be a bit of a bomb, if I'm completely honest. I think the concept will be too cheesy for general audience goers. Don't get me wrong, I am looking forward to this movie, and I will probably love it. And I know a lot of people who watch this channel will love it, but I don't think it will go across with general audiences. Next one we have Rampage. Now this is the new Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie, and this is a difficult one, I think, because if you look at The Rock's box office kind of career, it's kind of going up and down. Obviously, Baywatch was kind of a bit of a disaster, but obviously San Andreas did very well, and I kind of think it looks like Jumanji's doing pretty well. But I don't think this movie is going to do it. I think this is going to be a bomb. And this one comes to us on the 20th of April. So it's a kind of a funny time to kind of release this. I don't think it's a particularly big month for movies. And it's a video game movie of a very old video game that I bet you most young people have never heard of at this point. And it looks particularly, it looks very much like San Andreas, just with monsters. But I don't foresee this being a particularly big hit at all. I think it's just going to be a bomb, personally, or at least a miss. I don't think it will make enough to make it to be classed as anything other than a disappointment. Pacific Rim Uprising, and this one comes to us on the I don't know if I got this date right actually, 23rd of the 4th, 2018. So It looks like it's coming out around about the same time as Rampage. I'm not 100% sure I've got those dates right, but Pacific Rim wasn't a particularly big success to begin with. It did okay in the kind of the worldwide market, but it didn't do very well in America on its own. And I don't think this movie has got a great buzz going into it. So all the problems I think you've had and lack of interest you had with the first one, I think is going to be you have that, but plus you've got John Boyega coming out of Star Wars, which disappointed a lot of fans of that one. The buzz hasn't been great in going into this movie. And I think if the release date is right, or even if it's around that kind of period of time, same time as Rampage, 2 big monster movies coming out the same month, nah, neither of them are going to hit. Okay, AntMan and the Wasp. But this one comes out to us July the 6th, 2018. Out of all of the Marvel movies this year, of which there are 3 in regards to the MCU, but you've obviously got Spider-Man and the stuff as well. I think this is the most risky, if I'm honest. I know Ant-Man was technically a hit, but it wasn't a kind of a blockbuster hit. I worry this year, and I haven't really kind of got into the X-Men in this list. It's one of the movies I didn't bother picking out, but there's a lot of superhero movies in 2018, and I think Ant-Man and Wasp might be a casualty. I don't think it will be a bomb. And I think it will be, if we call it a kind of a, you know, a bit of a break even, I think it will make money. It will be on that kind of like, just at the top of the kind of the break even. I think it will do similar numbers to what Ant-Man 1 did. I don't think we'll see a lot of growth. I actually think it might even do slightly less than Ant-Man 1, purely because there's so much competition this year. So I will say, I think that Ant-Man and the Wasp will be okay. It will make money. I don't think it will make a lot. So I will class this as a kind of a break-even. Ready Player One. This comes out on the 30th of March 2018. This is a tough one because it's a Steven Spielberg film on one hand, and obviously that has certain connotations, and there's a lot of kind of pop culture kind of like references in there, and I think like fans of this channel, fans who watch stuff on the internet, I think they'll go for it. I don't know if it's going to have that bigger impact with casual moviegoers. So, and I suspect the budget this one's quite high. So I'm going to go with, I think it will break even, that movie, and I think it will probably, you know, like a little bit like Ant-Man the Wasp, it will probably do a little bit more, and make a small profit. But I personally will class it as a kind of a film that kind of breaks even. Tomb Raider, starring Alicia Vikander. This one comes out just before Ready Player One on the 16th of March, and again it might kind of pull some of these people away from Ready Player One, but I don't think it's going to be. I actually think Tomb Raider is going to be a bomb. I don't think it's going to do. I think there's very little interest in this movie. Fans of the game, I think Tomb Raider is a little bit long in the tooth at this point. I don't think there's a particularly huge amount of interest in it. I think the lead actress they've got, you know, there's not a massive fan base for her. I know there's going to be a few. I know there's people go, oh, I love Alicia Vikander, but she doesn't really have that kind of presence. And I've got to say the trailers looked fairly mundane, if I'm honest. I'm going to say Tomb Raider is going to be a bomb. I don't think it will make the kind of the money that it needs to. And then the final one that I've got on my list, and I know there are other movies, but I don't want to make it to this video too long, is Han Solo. Now, apparently, Disney have said they're expecting this to bomb. I don't think this will bomb. I actually think this movie will do okay. Probably do similar, if not quite as much money as Rogue One, but it'll be enough to class it as a hit. I think after a lot of the kind of the old school fans have abandoned the kind of the current kind of storyline because it varied too much from the what they knew as the kind of the classic kind of Star Wars movies. I think they'll go into this one hoping they can get a bit of feeling from the kind of they know as the kind of the classic era Star Wars movies. We'll see. It's difficult because we haven't really seen that much to it. It's not all that far away. 25th of May 2018. I think it will be a hit. I can't. It's difficult to bet against Star Wars, even though it's kind of had a bit of a hammering in the press recently. Anyway, that is my my list of predictions for 2018. I would love to know your thoughts. I mean, I know I have mentioned any of the X-Men films, or obviously plenty of other ones as well, but are there any movies that you think I've got wrong? Any movies that you think will either miss or be a hit that I've said against? I would love to hear your thoughts on it, and we can maybe have a look at towards the end of the year and see how these movies kind of fared against my predictions, and we'll see how good I am at predicting whether the movies are hits or not. Thanks for your time, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.